Hey everyone, Oisty T from Good Evening Eorzea here, and I'm here to talk to you about the level 71 Shadowbringers dungeon and the experience I've had on trusts versus non-trust runs through this dungeon. So we've got footage of both runs being played over the video. So in the top corner we've got the trust version, and in the bottom corner we've got a run with 3 player characters through the leveling roulette. Now, I will caveat this by saying that I did die in the trust version because of me being an idiot, and that is why partly the trust version did take longer. But the NPC one, so the player character one, is going to be loot, so it is going to be continuing throughout this video. So to begin with, trusts do seem to work. I mean, I had an issue with getting into the dungeon, but that was more of a server issue. It was a 30-minute queue to get in. However, we were getting reports of lots of people having issues getting into single-player instances, because I think a lot of players were getting to the level 72 solo instance, the Oracle of Light, spoiler warning, and therefore people were getting stuck and bottlenecked in the server queues, which is probably why it took me so long to get in. Actually, inside the dungeon, the trusts do respond well. The only real issue I had was the pull range and the movement. So they don't run off, they don't automatically run ahead. You have to run ahead and they will follow. And you've got to get fairly close to the enemies for the tank, in this case, to actually go and pull them. So it is one of those things that I did get aggro quite a lot of times, which the tank did immediately take off me. I will say I didn't have to wait for the tank to get the enemies off me. They did pull them off me really, really quickly. So they do seem to have really, really good aggro management issues, or aggro management abilities. However, they just seem to be slow. It's one of those things that obviously player characters versus trusts is going to be a thing of the player characters is going to go and do big pulls. They are going to go and be able to manage these big pulls, both tanks and healers. Whereas with trusts, you do pull it mob by mob, and even if you were to be the tank inside the trust, I don't think the healer would be able to keep up with actually healing you. So if you're a tank or healer, then I think it's still going to be beneficial for you to go into the dungeon as a normal group, so just queue up for a dungeon, because you will get those quick queues. Tank queues are quite bad at the moment. However, I have seen reports from my FC today saying that the timings of the tank queues is back down to around 3-4 minutes, or insta queues at the time. Healers are exactly the same. Healers are getting insta pop queues, and I'll be perfectly honest, I've just ran a level 50, 60, 70 dungeon there. I got ARF, and I actually got Adventure in Need as a DPS, which is really weird. Just I've never seen as a DPS, to be perfectly honest. So there are things there that are helping people queue up. And in terms of it, I'm going to run every dungeon once with the trust. It's going to be my first run through with the trust, just for that experience, because when I was doing the first boss, just being able to know where I'm running for AoEs, it's one of those things that I sometimes get tunnel vision on actually damaging the boss, and I kind of get skew whiffed when it comes to trying to avoid AoEs. So just being able to follow actual NPCs to specific points so I can avoid those AoEs, that really did help me, and I think it will help a lot of players when they're learning the fight and when they're just wanting to focus on damaging the boss, knowing where to stand based on where the other players are actually standing. On the flip side of that, it is much easier running it with normal players, much quicker, much smoother. I didn't really have any issues. Loot wise, they turned around and said in the live letter that they were dropping loot by a quarter. I think they've only dropped it by a half, because I got a piece from each boss, so that's 3. I got a piece from each treasure chest, so that's 5. And then you get your guaranteed drop at the end of the dungeon, which is 6. Compared that to the 11 pieces of gear that you could possibly get inside the actual dungeon on the when running it with players, it may have been 13. I may have missed a treasure chest. So even if it's 13 compared to 6, you're still getting near enough 50% of the gear, and it's an easy way of being able to gear up your characters, especially with them changing the loot system when it comes to rewards for quests. You've no longer got pick one of these tank weapons, pick one of these healer weapons, pick one of these body pieces. It's now a case of open a coffer on a specific job and you will get that piece of gear. So it's much easier to gear up your alt characters and alt jobs through the trust system, and it's something that I'm going to be doing a lot of. However, like I say, player characters is much easier. I do prefer running it with normal players, and it was much smoother. However, there are little things such as the Alisaie using the limit break straight away really made me giggle. Alphino turning around to Alisaie and saying leave the healing to me when she casts the cure. Those little things do just add a little bit of flavour to the dungeon. I'm really interested to see kind of what other bits and pieces are in there when it comes to having Urianger, Thancred, Minfilia, Ishtola in there to add those little bits of flavour to the dungeon. Obviously, I'm just going to let this video run. I'll keep the video running in terms of the actual views of the dungeons for a little bit longer. I'll make it last about 10 minutes, just so that you've got an idea. If not, maybe I might run them a little bit longer. I haven't quite decided, but I am rambling at the end of this video now. Thank you for those people who have watched my day 0 and day 1 video. There will be a day 2 video as well around about the same time as this one. I'm not going to be streaming on Sunday or Monday. However, there will still be a day 3 video, and there will still be a day 4 video on Monday, Tuesday respectively, and then I'll be back streaming Tuesday, Wednesday and Friday. Me and Miss Murphy, we're going to do a live version on Twitch of Good Evening Eorzea, so please and check that out. But until next time, please like, comment and subscribe, and as always, take care.
How many years have come and gone since that day? How many years have I waited for this moment? For the one that stood alone against the storm. For the one they called the Warrior of Light. Sayest thou, Master Matoya? We may accept this fate, or defy it, but we cannot deny it.
Deny? I am not wont to run from my troubles. until our friend returns, I will hold the line.
This town certainly has changed, and not at all for the better. I'm not going anywhere. I promise you, Minfilia. Greater even than the seventh umbral calamity, must be undone. If history must be unwritten, let it be unwritten. Become what you must.